is lesson master 4.8. Let's see. It says, consider the graph of the function f of x equals the cosine of x minus 9 pi over 4 minus 4. Find each of the following for f. Right. The phase shift, the period, the amplitude, and the max and minimum values. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write my translation rule. And I can see that my translation rule would be x plus 9 pi over 4 and y minus 4. Notice that x lies in the equation, so I made it the opposite in the rule, and y tells the truth. The phase shift is affected by what happens to the x value. So the phase shift, according to the rule, is right 9 pi over 4. The period is affected by if we multiply anything by the x value, the x scale change. So it's 2 pi times the x scale change. But there isn't an x scale change, so it's just 2 pi times 1, or 2 pi. The amplitude is the absolute value of the y scale change. Well, again, we have no scale change, so the amplitude is still 1. The max and min values, because my graph is shifted to the axis is at -4, then from the axis at -4, I'm going to go up 1 to get to the maximum value. And I'd start at the axis, which is -4, and I'd go down 1 to get to the minimum value. So the maximum value is -3, and the minimum value is -5. So this is the max, and this is the min. All right, let's go to number 2. Consider this function, and we're going to find each of the following. The phase shift. All right, I'm going to first again write my translation rule. X plus 7 pi over 3. Oops, and then y minus 2. So my phase shift is right 7 pi over 3. Again, there is no scale change, so it's just simply 2 pi times 1, because there's no scale change, so it's 2 pi. There is no scale change on the y either, so the amplitude is simply 1. My max and minimum values, because I'm shifted to -2 for my axis, and then my amplitude is 1, I go up 1, which would take me to -1. Or I start at -2 and I go down 1, which would take me to -3. So -1 is my max, -3 is my min. Next, I'm asked to sketch these graphs. Right? So whenever I'm going to graph one of these translated functions, I first start by graphing the original. I'll just let this be 1 and -1. And I'm going to do pi over 2, pi. And let's see, I'm going to have to divide each of these into thirds. So I'm actually, let's see, going to make this pi over 2. And then this can be pi. And this would be 3 pi over 2. I didn't need that many, I just need. And then this would be 2 pi, like that. So I'm dividing it into thirds because I know I'm going to have to, because of this pi over 3 here. And this is sine, so it starts here, comes up, goes down. I'll do the same thing this way, pi over 2. Like that. And my translation rule, let's see if I guess I should keep going here. This would be negative 3 pi over 2. This would be negative 2 pi. Like that. So there's my sine curve. According to my translation rule, I'm going to be going to the left pi over 3 because it's the opposite of what it is in the equation, and I'm going to be going up 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my new axis in. Hopefully you can see this color purple that I'm going to use. I'm going to go up 1. I don't know if you can see the color real well. So I'm going to move up 1, and then what I have to do is move my points left pi over 3. So 1/3 of a pi is simply the same. It's the same as 2/6 because since each of these is 1/3 of a half, that means it's a 1/6. So I'm going to be moving 2/6 to the left. So 2 hash marks is going to be 1/3 of a pi. So I'm going to take this initial point, I've moved it up, and now I'm going to move it to the left too, and my new point would be right there. This point here gets moved up 1 and then to the left 2. So every point is being moved up 1 and then to the left 2 because each of these hash marks is a 1/6 and 2/6 is 1/3. So each of my points is getting moved again up 1 and to the left 2. Okay. This point here, up 1 and to the left 2, up 1 and to the left 2. And you can kind of see how this works. Right. Okay. I think that's enough of the curve to show you what it's going to look like. Wish it showed it a little bit more significantly that it was the purple. Let's see. This is the new axis, and then here's the curve. That. Okay. All right, let's go to number 4. First thing I'm going to do in number 4 is I don't like that -3 on the left-hand side, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So my equation is y equals the tangent of x minus pi over 4 plus 3, which means my translation rule is to the right pi over 4 and up 3. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw in my initial. And I'm just still going to count by ones here, so I don't have to write anything since I'm just counting by ones. And let's see, since I'm going to be moving I'm going to be using fourths. Well, that's not too hard to do. I could say each of these is a fourth, a half. This could be my pi over 2. Then this is my 3/4, and this is my pi. And then my 3 pi over 2. And this right about here would be my 2 pi. I'll do the same thing going this direction because then each of these is a fourth because half of a half is a fourth. So that'll work out. I don't have to do anything different for this one. Okay. Now, in my original tangent graph, all of my asymptotes are at my odd multiples of pi over 2, pi over 2, 3 pi over 2. And I'm moving to the right 1 mark, so now my new asymptotes, rather than being at pi over 2, would be in between these two, which would be 3/4 for this one, right? And same thing here, rather than being at negative pi over 2, it's going to be to the right, so it'll be here, like that. So that's where my new asymptotes would be. And the next one would be then right here. And this one would be, let's see, I've got to go on 1/4, so 1 1/4 right here. And then when I draw my curves, rather than having my curves go through at 0, they're going to go through at 3. So I'm just going to need to move up 1, 2, 3 and have my curves go through there. So here, when I would go up 1, 2, 3, my curves would go like that. Okay. And remember, those curves hit like that right in the middle between the two asymptotes. I can again highlight it so you can see it a little bit more clearly. These are my asymptotes. Again, they were moved to the right 1/4. And then each of these curves would normally go through at 0, so I moved that up 3. Like that. And there's my new graph. All right, so let's do number 6. It says consider the equation with this translation rule, where we're going to be going left 3 pi over 2, and we're going to go down 1. All right, so to start, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to graph my original. And I'm going to have this, I might actually have this be 1, just so that it's not quite so squished. And I'm going to have each of these be like 1/4 of a pi, so this would be 1/2 of a pi, 3/4 of a pi, and then this would be pi. And then 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, and then my 2 pi would be there. And let's see, this is cosine. So I'm starting here at pi over 2, and that's 0, down to negative 1, 1 1/2 pi, back up. So there is my u. I'm going to go ahead and draw it the other way, 1, 2. So this is my negative pi. This is my negative 2 pi. These are my halves. So go. So there is my original equation. Now what I'm going to do, I'll try doing it in red, we'll see if you can see it or not. I'm going to move everything left 3 pi over 2. So let's see, end down 1. So I've got to think, to go left 1 1/2. 1 1/2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces is 1 1/2. So every point is going to be moved 6 marks to the left, and since 1 is represented by 2 of these, it's going to go 2 down for me because of the way my graph is drawn. Well, this one would be off the graph, so that one. Let's see, this one I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 down. So I just moved this point from here to here. This one I'm going to go 6 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 2 down. So I'm going to go 6 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 down. Alright. And then this one I'm going to go 6 to the left, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 2 down. Okay. And this next one here, I guess actually this one here would be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 2 down. So essentially I'm doing this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.